The players do not seem happy about the Damari Alston situation.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first or maybe your second listen every single day. This is a bonus edition of Locked On Auburn. Ben Taylor of the Auburn Network family of stations hanging out with us today. And yeah, we might talk a little bit about Auburn Mizzou coming up. But Damari Alston, the fallout continues to happen. Hugh Freeze's comments about it at his presser on Monday, already interesting. But now you're starting to hear, and some of them are even going to social media where you could see it yourself, but you're starting to hear more and more chatter about how upset a lot of the guys in the locker room are, which I don't think is the biggest surprise in the world. And I don't think Hugh Freeze helped himself out with how he worded it at his presser on Monday.
No, first and foremost, I think that was the Kickstarter was when he worded it. So I did not hear anything about this. I got busy, and then the presser comes about, and I kind of look up, and you know how it gets in like the radio business. Like I got everything turned off. I'm not hearing anything. No social media, no nothing. Didn't even know Damari was an issue. And then all of a sudden, when Hughes asked about it, and then I see the quotes, and then I get people like hitting me up and texting me, and I'm like, what? They're asking why he's gone, and I was like, well, Hugh says because basically he did not say this. This is what it sounded like, Zach. This is the way I took from it. Perception's reality. Conduct unbecoming for the team, or something like that. Detrimental to the team. That's not what he said. I understand that, but when he said not meeting the standards, and he said,
expectations or standard of the football program.
So my brain went to, what did he do off the field? What happened? Did he miss practice? Did he leave the team post game without talking to anybody? And he got blowback from I immediately started guessing everything known to man. And then you see the walk back, and then you kind of start hearing what really happened. And part of me, I'm on Damari's side because I'm a senior, and I probably want some playing time if I'm looking to get myself on tape for that next level, if I'm going to go next level.
Sure.
So I look at going, okay, well, there's that loophole we've talked about. I haven't played in 4 games. I can redshirt and go somewhere else, or redshirt and stay here and play more next year or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lose-lose situation if you're Freeze, right? Like, I get both sides of this. I think Damari going to him I understand how it's in the best interest of Damari, but also like you have been tasked and elected by your peers as a captain.
Yeah.
In hindsight, with seeing how most people have responded, I think the team actually would have taken it at this point. It still looks terrible. But I also think you could have done it in a way where like it wasn't that big of a deal in hindsight, now that like the dust has settled a little bit. But at first I was surprised at the pushback by the locker room because of it's like, what is Free supposed to do? Supposed to say, yeah, you can just sit out.
Exactly.
And like I think Freeze made the right decision here.
Yeah, I do too.
But if he had have just let him sit, I don't think it would have been as big of a deal, but as maybe he thought in real time. But him saying the phrasing that he did on Monday at the presser, like that was bad. Like that was such an unforced error.
Yeah.
Of like one of the most likable, because you're right. Most people did not hear the rumors that have been swirling Monday morning for about the 3 hours prior to that. Most people didn't hear that. In fact, I went live right after, and a lot of my live chat was like, wait, what? Damari's not on the team anymore? Like that was a pretty common response. And I imagine that was pretty normal throughout the Auburn fan base. I think a situation would have made sense where he just like tell the full truth in this. He asked for a red shirt. I didn't think that was fitting for a senior captain to ask for. And we agreed to part ways. Like tell the truth in that situation. I don't think you need to like doctor it up at all.
No, and it's almost like he tried to he tried to please Auburn fans, and he completely walked all over himself in doing it. I will say, when you said see both sides, I want to go on record as saying too that not only did I see where Damari's coming from, because he's not getting a lot of playing time, he hasn't played in 4 games, he wants to put some stuff on tape, he wants to redshirt. I also see the coaching leadership portion of it, where maybe they were sitting in a room together and he had that conversation of, you're a captain, it's about time you start acting like one. Like you need to act like a captain, and that's not what a captain would do. Would be to leave his team hanging like this. Now,
yeah, I get
how that affects
of it.
I would think some people in the locker room have an issue with Damari's side of it. Maybe other captains, maybe other leaders going,
Sure.
hey, this is not why we put you in this position. But I also see the side of, listen, I saw Alvin Henderson tweet for the first time in forever, and he basically was taking Damari's side and said, great guy, great leader, has been walking me through this from day one, gonna miss you, or something like that. And
yeah, I've seen a lot of defensive players go to socials and say like, hey, love you forever, like a brother.
Yeah.
That's why we voted you as captain. Like both sides of the ball, pretty much every different position group. All of the stuff on social media has been pro Damari, which is expected. And if you're Hugh Freeze, I don't know what you do with that. I'm not sure.
I will say this, Zach, if Auburn wins 2 of the last 3 and this happens and he's not getting the playing time, it's a non-story because they've won 2 of the last 3.
Yeah,
But
Kyle brought up a point where even if Auburn would have beaten Georgia and Damari still just has 2 touches or whatever it was, does this still happen? And the answer is probably yes.
Yeah.
And so if that's his intent to do what's best for him in this scenario. So yeah, I don't, so strange. It's strange in the sense of like, you don't see this too often. And I hate how it's being crafted outside of Auburn as like, oh, this is the beginning of the end. It's about to fall apart. And that might be the case, but this seems like a pretty isolated issue because all the other people who are playing a bunch have played in more than 4 games. Damari just missed a few because he got banged up with, the stinger or whatever.
Mhm.
So when you start seeing other people sit out who can't redshirt, then I'm going to be a little bit more panicked. But like, I don't think the program's in a significantly worse situation now than it was on Sunday morning, right? Because of this. But it does feel bad. It does feel bad, but I don't know if it's really any worse in actuality.
And when's the right time to do this? Because you see other players that will sit out when it gets close to like bowl season or the end of the year because they want to do what's quote unquote best for their program or best for themselves, not the program, right. Best for themselves. So, that was somebody said, well, when's a good time to do that? I said, I don't know that there is a good time to do it. I mean, because when they do it at the end of the season, when they clearly are not going to be playing in a playoff game, people get mad at them because they're quitting on their team, even though they're doing it to go work out and try to move their way up in the draft. But if you do it now at the first of the season, clearly you got people saying they're quitting on their team, but you got players saying, I love you, I hate to see you go, wish you the best. One of those deals. So I don't know. Anytime this sort of thing happens, it's not a great time. I don't think there's a good time to make it happen. But yes. I go back to what you said just a minute ago. The way it was handled in the press conference, I think makes this way worse than probably it should have, where if you just laid it out there and said, we talked, he wants to redshirt. I don't want him redshirting because as a head coach, I need my captain being there. We had a discussion. He decided he didn't want to be with the team any longer. End of story. Let's move on. But
yeah, and you still have some of it. But the post that a lot of the players are like quote tweeting or putting in their story is Dukes, Philip Dukes saying he's responding to Hugh Freeze's quote about failing to meet expectations or whatever. And he's like, Damari was never late. He never got in trouble. He had great grades. And so he's addressing the part of it that, kind of sent a red flag in your mind when you saw the quote and when most people saw in the quote. And so
and Damari responded to those tweets under Philip Dukes' post.
What did he say
on Twitter? He said 100%. That was one of his thing. And then another one said, at least you know the truth or something. He responded to him like twice underneath that Twitter post that Philip Dukes had put up.
Yeah, which
Let
I think both sides are correct. I just don't think Freeze phrased his well.
Not at all. And it painted a picture.
If I had to guess, Ben, that was a canned response that he was given. If I had to guess, he was given that response to say.
I don't even think it was given to him. I think that's coach speak from years of being in coaching, and that was his quote unquote natural.
I've been told that he was given that response.
Well, then that person needs to be talked to as well, because that came across as possibly smearing the name of a student athlete, on edge of smearing the name.
Yeah, and then also just as a head coach, you got to look at that and be like, no, like Hugh, this is your program.
So just tell the truth. Just say exactly what you're supposed to be saying. So
yeah, it's
strange. And I don't. But you mentioned the fallout. Is there going to be fallout? Like, what are we looking at in the future? Because anytime something like this happens, we don't know what's going on in the four walls of that building.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what the reaction is of the others in the running back room,
right?
The other captains on the team. We've already, there have been pods and posts, and Kyle and I have talked about this. There have been things talking about quarterback changes. They've been talking about coaching responsibility changes. Now you got players that are already leaving just this many games into the season. So does that add to more? Is there a domino effect? Like there's a lot
and like with the portal rules, I don't know if it makes sense to leave. Like Damari, it made sense because his eligibility is running out, and you could save this year. Outside of that, like I don't know if it really makes sense for other people to leave. So we'll see. Auburn's, I think they've got a shot against Missouri. Ben, I want to hear your thoughts on it. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks, it's such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 in lineups up to your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood, well, the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of home, whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or the beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. These businesses are what bring people together. When the neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/LockedOnCollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. Ben Taylor, host of Auburn Opelika this morning, part of the Auburn Network family of stations. Auburn still favored against Missouri. I feel weirdly okay with this matchup going into it. Both defenses statistically very, very good. And I don't know, Ben. It doesn't make sense. I can't fully explain it, but I like Auburn this weekend.
So here's my reluctance to take Auburn this weekend.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty. There's plenty of things you could say after that.
I had bugged so hard that we were going to beat Georgia that I had my mind made up that it was almost a given, almost to the point where you could just roll the ball out there this past Saturday and we were winning regardless. I thought we were due. I thought the bad luck had hung with us long enough that it was time for things to turn and we were going to be fine. And then the second half rolled around. I'm not even talking about the bad calls, all the bad guys. I'm talking the 40 yards of total offense in the second half. And that kind of is the theme over the last few games. The second half has been tough. A&M, Oklahoma, adjustments are not being made. Did a whole show with Kyle on that where I talked about I think that Hugh's got a little too much going on right now as far as extracurricular activities that it's costing him as far as adjustment phases, whether it be the second half or even in game, because he's got his brain elsewhere. Zach, I got to be honest with you. If they are somewhat close to the lead at halftime, I don't like Auburn Tigers moving into the second half, because we haven't proven against a good team, which a 5-1 Missouri team, I know that everybody looks at the competition they played. They still had an opportunity to beat Alabama if they don't make some stupid mistakes like taunting in the first. They had a chance to jump on Alabama early and jump on them big, and they ended up kind of messing themselves up at the first part of that game, who, by the way, I got to sit and watch with my Bama grad sister. So it made for a great Saturday, if you're wondering, to sit there and watch Alabama win and Auburn lose. That
I'm sorry.
Not that awesome. So
sorry for your pain and suffering. That sounds brutal.
So no, I can't pick Auburn in this game, and I would take Missouri in the win, just because I haven't seen where we could put together two halves of football yet.
Yeah, there's been some movement other play. Let me see if FanDuel still has Auburn. Nope, it's switched on FanDuel. So now Missouri is a 1.5 point favorite on FanDuel.
Now, how much of that has to do with the Damari situation?
None of it. It shouldn't impact it at all, unless you just think the players are going to be mad and like not play or something. Like Damari, the drop off between Damari and Omar there is a drop off, but it's not much.
No, it's not.
It's not much, and it's not from him. I've gotten so many people message me about, oh, well, Damari, like, he was averaging like 1.5 yards a carry over the last however many games. I'm like, yeah, that's not the point, though. Like, that's not the point of why this is a big deal. He also is the only back that has a proven track record of being able to pass block, which is something that doesn't show up in a stat sheet, but is very, very important. Jeremiah Cobb has been impressive and surprisingly good, and that's been great. Can't pass block. You don't want him doing that. Do you want a freshman who should be a senior in high school right now doing that? I don't know. I don't know what you do in that situation, Ben.
Yeah. So with the line moving, I guess FanDuel sees what I see, and that's not Auburn not being able to put a second half together. As far as offensively, anyway. Defense has been fine, but offensively, they've just struggled, and so I continue.
Your bet here might actually be first half spread Auburn plus 1.5.
Yeah, I'll take
that might be your bet. Like, does Auburn have a lead at halftime, or is it tied at halftime? I would say yes. I think that's your bet on FanDuel right now.
If you're a gambling person, take that bet the first half, and then take Mizzou overall, even at a 1.5 point favorite that FanDuel has them at right now. Take Mizzou overall.
Yeah, and your fourth quarter spread is Auburn plus 1.5, and it's like, I think you take Mizzou there.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's frustrating to see, because all you need is to be able to have a game plan in place to be able to close out a game, and it just hasn't been a thing. So it's going to be
Ben, him coming out on Monday and saying, yeah, we had a play call against a look in the first half and it worked, and then the execution in the second half wasn't there. We had that same play against the same look, and the execution wasn't there. And I'm like, you're not saying.
Yes,
you're not saying what I think you're saying.
That's exactly what he's saying.
And it's like, yeah, Kirby coached his guys. He coached them.
Yep. He made adjustments. He made adjustments. He made them say, he said, the next time you see this is what's going to happen. And that did not happen at the halftime of the Auburn game, nor has it happened the last few games of the Auburn game.
That was wild. I mean, it was a wild presser all in all. I mean, the Damari stuff was crazy, but then like him saying that he was asked about Darrell Robinson, and he's like, he was running today. I need to ask medical about him. See what his timeline is. It's like, what?
That you should know that timeline. Like
what?
See, this goes back to he's being torn to 15 different places and can't concentrate on one thing, which is his number one job.
How do you have a discussion with one of your running backs that he's not on the team anymore and not think, all right, we're really thin there. I wonder how the guy that we brought in through the portal's doing on his recovery. Like, how does your brain not go there instantly? I mean, you're right. He's getting pulled a million different ways, but I wonder what's more important than that in that moment. I don't know. I'm sure the answer is legitimate. I just don't know what it is. So Ben, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
I can be the miserable guy that is sitting on Auburn Opelika this morning, News Talk WANI, pondering why this football team is not winning when I completely built them up all season, off season long. AUnetwork.com is where you can find me. Click on the WANI logo.
Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.